So the premiere, it was one hell of a premiere. Honestly, everything in it, like, even though I was like in tears when it was happening and like freaking out, that episode in general, I think was like perfect. I mean, I couldn't spot a single thing wrong with it. Even though we lost two great characters, just in general, everything in the episode was perfect. How they did it. I mean, even though they didn't do it off like right off the bat, like I thought they would, they did it in such a way where they kept us guessing for a little while. They still told us an episode, but they kept us like guessing towards like the beginning. They're like, "What's happening?" Then, like I think with like the midway part where they're like, Negan's like, "Okay, I have an idea. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo." So it's like they still made us guess and gave us like more time to like prepare for it, which I think was really good. Even though I completely wasted it and was not prepared for anything. So at the beginning of the episode, Rick says, "Negan, I'm gonna kill you." Negan's like, "Nope," and takes the axe and drags him in the RV. Takes him to the fog where the dude who they hung, which I knew he was going to come back to bite him in the ass. I mean, he didn't save him, so he's going to come back and make stuff hard for them. So this whole part, like, beginning, before I find out who got Lucille, Negan's very much playing with Rick. He's like, because Rick still is determined to, like, kill Negan and win. But Negan knows that he can have that, so he's going to make Rick miserable and destroy him in the inside. He thought killing two of his friends, which we found out later, was one thing. But that didn't work, so now he needs to go to all other levels. And he does. So, they didn't do what I thought was happening. Rick got his hand saved. I thought it was going to cut him off. It looked like it was. I'm pretty sure a lot of people said that, but it wasn't. That's fine. Whatever. So then, he throws the axe out, orders Rick to get it. So Rick goes out and gets it. And he had flashbacks of, like, Rosita. And then Glenn. And all these people. And I'm like, holy shit, what happened? And I got so confused because I thought, oh shit, is it Rosita? Oh shit, is it Glenn? Is it Rosita and Glenn? He climbs on top of the RV. And that's when he flashes back to the Lucille moment. Now, at the beginning of this is really much Rick's POV, which the entire episode really is, which I actually really enjoyed. Normally I don't. I like the third person shot, but I really like this, how it was Rick's POV. So, Negan, eeny, meeny, miny, moes, and it was Abraham. They breathed, they blinked, they cried, they all did that, and hit. Now, Abraham's death was, like, Abraham wasn't in my top 10. If you watch my video, you'll see that. But regardless, he was still such a great character. And, like, I mean, he had all these, like, hilarious lines just, like, got us through the week till next episode that we laughed about. He had this, like, such great story arc with, like, the whole Rosita and Sasha thing. His last words were amazing. Suck my nuts. If that isn't in Abraham last words, I don't know what is. That, like, I think I laughed during that, even though, like, I was, like, still, like, freaking out because Abraham was getting his head beaten. But when he said that, I just started, like, laughing, and then I started freaking out again when he started bashing him in again. Just, Abraham went down as Abraham, which I thought was awesome. I love how they did that. So, when Abraham died the first time, I didn't catch this, but I did go back and rewatch the episode a bit. When Abraham is about to die, he's standing up and, like, ready. But if you look at his hand, he's given a peace sign, which, to the direction of Sasha, which is what they've been doing for, like, a long time since they started having feelings for each other. So I feel like, even though his last words were "suck my nuts," I feel like that peace sign was a way to say, Sasha, I love you, goodbye. But what interests me the most during Abraham's death was Rosita. Rosita was a mess. I mean, Sasha was falling around out too and was freaking out. But Rosita was like on her hands and knees, like looked like she was gonna throw up or die or whatever. Even Negan notices that and says, "Oh, were you two together?" Which they were, but not at that time. Because Sasha was, which I thought was very awkward. And when he said that and her reaction, it just proved that even though Abraham dumped Rosita for Sasha, even though Rosita had her fling with Spencer, Rosita still loved Abraham. Even after how he broke her heart and she slept with another guy to try to get over it, she still loved him. And that moment proved it. Even Negan saw it. And there's also a little thing where after he kills Abraham, he starts quoting about how he was gonna die because he was red and hell. Yeah. So he starts telling Rosita, look at the bat, look at my dirty girl, all that. And then Daryl, the hothead he is, thinks he has balls to punch Negan in the face. No, I'm not sure about you guys, but comic fans, actually any Negan fan in general, will know you never do that. You never, ever try to stand up to Negan like that. Rick tried to, Abraham died. So Daryl gets thrown on the ground by all these saviors. Dwight has Daryl's crossbow to the head. And Negan doesn't kill him. I was like, kind of wish he did after what happens next. So Negan's like, what did I say? When Glenn freaked out, Negan said, if any of you do that again, I will shut that shit down. What did Daryl do? He did it again. And so what did Negan do? He shut that shit down. And how did he do it? Not on Daryl. No, on Glenn. He killed Glenn too. Now, that one was a lot harder for me. Mainly because I wasn't expecting it. I thought, well, I mean, I heard theories that there were going to be two. But after Abraham, I'm like, okay, maybe it's over. And even so, I thought he was going to do Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Moe again. So I could anticipate it. But he's just like, nope, turn around, hit Glenn on the head. I started crying. I know probably a bunch of other people did too. It was not a good thing. And when he raises his head, it looks exactly just like how it was in the comic. Like, if you go back and just look at that issue in the comic, you will see, like, have, like, them, like, side by side. They look almost identical. With, like, the blood down the face and the eye. Everything. Even though it was heartbreaking to watch. They did an amazing job with that. And Glenn's last words weren't as funny as Abraham's were, but they were more meaningful than ever. When he said, Maggie, I'll find you. That just broke my heart. No, because, like, Glenn and Maggie, that's a thing. That's been a thing since they had sex in the convenience store when he covered up Lori's pregnancy by picking up a box of condoms. That's a dream. That's how love is formed in the apocalypse. Kinda, I guess. And he lasted so long through everything. With the barn burning down, to the prison, to losing Herschel, to the prison getting blown up, to Terminus, to losing Beth, to the Alexandra herd, to the Nicholas in the dumpster thing, from everything. They survived it. And then when it came down to it, Negan was the one who put it to an end. But I mean, I guess if Glenn and even Abraham, if they had to go out anyway, it would be that way. I feel like even though it sucks and they're dead and we'll never see them again, that's the way they both should have gone out. Two strong, tough, long-lasting survivors. That's how they should have gone. And they did. And that was heartbreaking. For not just me, but I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of other people who started freaking out and crying too. Then Rick flashbacks ends and he's back on the RV top and Negan says, imagine what can still happen. And that's when he starts imagining everyone else getting hit by Lucille. Now, at first I was shocked because I'm like, oh shit, did that actually happen? But then I started getting more and more, and then I started figuring out it was fake. But even though, just seeing it, like, Maggie. When I saw Maggie get hit over the head, I started, like, freaking out. Michonne. Carl, like, seeing everyone get beat, like, even though it's not real. Like, it's one thing to think it happened, to know it happened, but it's a completely different thing when you see it. But that does give Rick the courage to fight through, pick up the axe, kill the walkers, give it to Negan. Then Negan drives him back to where they were in the forest, which they were staying there all night. They didn't move. They just stood there on their knees. I don't think they even talked to each other. I just think they kept crying and sobbing and like didn't say a word to one another. So Rick gets there and he gets him out of the RV. Then he calls Carl up and puts him on the ground and draws on his arm. When I saw this start happening, I started freaking out because I knew Rick lost his hand in the comic. I thought Rick was going to lose his hand when I watched the sneak peek. I did not expect Carl to lose his hand. When he put him down there, I was saying no because he already has one eye. He can't have one arm. He can't be the only person to lose body parts. And Negan says, cut your boy's arm off or I will kill everyone. No, this must be like one of the hardest choices to make ever. I mean, choose between cutting off your child's arm or watching every single person you care about die. Who could make that choice? And Rick was freaking out, saying with me, crying, I have never seen Rick or anyone be as broken down as he was. It was so, like, he was destroyed. And that was just heartbreaking for me. And then Carl, who's on the ground, looks at his dad and says, Dad, just do it. Carl's not crying. Carl's not screaming, worried. He wants his dad to do it. Carl has grown up in this show. From the little kid who wouldn't stay in the house to the badass he is now. Willing to lose his arm and not crying about it, not freaking out about it, to save the people you love. That's why he's my favorite. That and everything else he's done in the show. That's why he's my favorite. So Rick picks up his axe, holds it in the air, but Negan stops him. He says, you belong to me now. You do what I say. Rick repeats it back to him. He says, okay. Then Negan takes Daryl, puts him in the back of the van, and says, he's mine now. You will do as I say, or I will cut him up, or I will make you do it. Negan and the Saviors are ready to leave. I think it was Rick. When you see Rick's face, if you see in the background, so like Rick's face is like here, the background's there, or whatever. If you look there, you see Glenn's dead body. And you see one of the Saviors with a camera and click. So it's taking a picture of Glenn's smashing head. If you remember from, I think, episode 12, when they attacked Savior's compound, Glenn found pictures of everyone's bashed in head. So when I saw that, I definitely thought it was foreshadowing, and turns out I was right. Unfortunately, drives away with Daryl. They all leave, and they're gone. Then it's just people who are left. Rosita, Michonne, Maggie, Rick, Sasha, Aaron, Carl, and Eugene. They're there, sitting there in tears, upset, knowing that they can't win anymore. It's not their world. It's Negan's world. It's his rules. He controls everything. Then Maggie starts standing up, and everyone's like, oh, we should help her because she's still sick. She's still pregnant. She's heartbroken now. And she says, you guys go back to Alexandria. I can make it to the hilltop. And they're like, no, we need to help you. And she's like, you need to go back to Alexandria and be ready to fight. I was not expecting this from Maggie. So, Maggie still wants to fight. Maggie's not going to let Glenn's death just go away. Literally, Maggie and even Sasha, out of everyone, they've probably lost the most. Sasha lost her boyfriend, her brother, and now her new boyfriend. Maggie lost her father, her sister, and now her husband. So Sasha comes up and says, I can take you to the hilltop. And so then Sasha goes over to Abraham's dead body and to Rosita and says, I'm going to take him. And at that moment, Sasha wasn't upset. Like, Sasha was being strong about it, which I think must have been really hard for her. Sasha, Rosita, and Eugene comes over and starts to pick up Abraham's body. And then Rick, Carl, they pick up Glenn's body. And then they go. Now, Negan says, oh, you think you can grow old with everyone and have dinner around a Sunday table or something like that? But, so, then it's a flashback of everyone from Alexandria, not just 11 of them. Like, we see Carol, Morgan, Tara, Gabriel, Spencer, all of them around a Sunday table. And it slowly zooms in. Abraham sitting on his side, and Glenn sitting at the end of the table, holding his child. So that just means that's what they thought would happen. Like, they never talked about it before, but I think deep down that's what they all thought could happen. They thought they could all grow old together and have dinner around a Sunday table. But they didn't. Because that's not how life works. Life can't always be that happy. And that's the end of the episode. So, just a few things to note. That was an amazing premiere. I loved every minute of it, even though I was freaking out and crying and, like, shitting myself at the same time. I wouldn't change a thing. Everything happened how it should happen. It was just perfect. And even though we lost Abraham and Glenn, their last words says it all. Suck my nuts and Maggie, I'll find you. That says it all. So I think that's about it. Glenn and Abraham, you will be missed. Thank you, Stephen and Michael, for making them come to life, for giving us these years that we got to watch them on screen and bring those characters to life and make us love them and freak out when they almost died. Thank you. I'll probably see you Monday with the next episode of Walking Dead, my reaction.
Hopefully, it's not as emotional as this one, because I need a break from emotions. So, goodbye.